Well, I think one of the problems that we've got in the advertising industry is, there's a lot of talk about innovation and innovative new things, and it's a very expensive word to say, and it keeps a lot of people in their jobs and saying something in their weekly meetings. But up until now, that's all it's been. And brands are counting on their agencies that they pay a lot of their money to come up with innovative new ways of doing things. But actually, there's been a little bit too much fear until now to do it, because people just want to fulfill the job and get it done. But now, as the world of connected TV has changed so much, the expectations and the needs of brands have changed a lot. It's not just about delivering the campaign, it's now actually about wanting to see results. And so now they need innovation. So now the agencies are having to take risks, more risks than they have before, in some of the new stuff that's out there, if they're going to deliver on what their clients need.
So are you seeing this change, or are you experiencing a lot of noise but not a lot of action?
When we set out 2.5 years ago, it was noise and no action. And a lot of sort of, sincerity, and people saying, this is good, this is interesting, we'll come back and talk to you. And that's obviously code for ghosting. And and I would say literally just in the last 6 to 9 months, that has actually now changed, where we're almost now getting the inbound. We're looking for something innovative. We have a budget for innovation. The innovation team's now getting busy. And we've seen that happen over the course of this year.
You come out with some good words and written pieces, so I'm going to pick you up on a couple. I think you've come up with creative agility in connected TV. What does that mean?
I love this one. Creative agility is something that came out of our obsession to fulfill our mission, which is to enrage the status quo. And, ad creatives have looked the same and followed the same playbook for pretty much 70 years. And they're beautiful, right? They're very expensive. They fundamentally sell a product, but it's like, here's your ad, go and use it. But what's needed today in a world that really requires more value exchange with consumers that you're trying to sell to is a creative that actually speaks to that person in that home. And that requires agility. It can't be one size, one ad fits all anymore. If you've got 1,000 different demographics you're trying to reach, you need 1,000 different creatives fundamentally. Or one creative with 1,000 different messages. And I'm not talking about an overlay with where your nearest auto dealer is. I mean the message itself. It's got to speak to that person, and it's got to speak to that person, if possible, in real time. That's what I mean by creative agility.
Don't you think, though, that the reason why we've done it this way for the last 70 years is because advertising works? When you're selling a tin of baked beans, you just market a tin of baked beans. If I'm a 50-year-old lady living at home, I'm buying a tin of beans the same as a 30-year-old bachelor living in a basement suite. Why do they need different messages?
Because the world has changed around advertising, right? Look at us all, right? We're in this universe of increasingly constant distraction. And having someone's attention on TV warrants actually earning it. And so yes, you can put an ad up there for a tin of baked beans, but is anyone watching it? Maybe the 50-year-olds are, and Martha's cupboards are full of baked beans. But the 30-year-old who has got 6 different devices surrounding him or her doesn't, because they're doing something else. And so advertising has worked, but it's not going to carry on working, not if we continue to adopt the status quo.
So this sounds like you're a proponent for personalization and relevance. And I know brands are struggling with this because there's also an efficiency that they have to look at, because if they produce 1,000 ads, are they going to get, let's say it costs them 10 times more, they could get 10 times more results from it. There has to be a point where they go, okay, this is enough. Do you see the balance there? Because this personalization thing is not going away, and there's a lot of brands who are cautioning people going too far down that funnel.
Well, actually, I think that the way that you sort of phrased that question, there's almost a pre-problem which needs to be addressed first. Relevance and personalization do not belong together, and the industry has synonymized it, and that's a big effing mistake. because being relevant and being personal are not the same thing. Just because I might be in the market to buy a car, that doesn't mean that the auto ad I now see is personalized. It means it's relevant, smart, right? That's smart investment. That's good spending, because I'm marketing to someone. I'm spending my money trying to reach that person who I know might be in the market for a car. So that's relevance. Personalization, though, is making that message, that creative, speak to that individual. And yeah, you're right. Like, there has to be a level of efficiency, and it doesn't have to cost 10 times or 1,000 times more. You just need to be intelligent about how you structure your creative, and then how you send it out. But the balance of relevant and personal is what we see as being the winning formula.
Yeah, so some research has come out that the personalization ads freak consumers out because they're a little bit too personal. Do you see that? Have you ever seen that as an issue to consumers?
No, there is definitely a balance that needs to be drawn, right?
Yeah.
You're not saying into someone's living room, "Hey Jimmy, your prescription's up for renewal. Like,
Yeah.
you can get your special drugs, at CVS this afternoon," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's that, which is not something that we would do, and I don't think you even can do. But take, for example, tax filing, right? There's a really big difference between a household on a $27,000 income and a household on a $2.7 million income. They have different tax needs, they have different tax filing needs, different considerations. So having a creative that speaks to a household on one level and on the other, that is an example of personalization. Or households that are maybe in more desertous regions versus more wet, rainforesty regions, right? Like the PNW. Like, who should the weed killing companies be selling a weed killer to? Well, everybody, but for different reasons. And so it's not just personalization down to a creepy level, it's personalization in conjunction with relevance.
Okay, so you agree we've got to be careful about the being.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you wrote another piece about 2022 being the year to have a perfect storm in CTV. What do you mean by that? What is the perfect storm?
So I think this took me a few days to think about and philosophize over, but by the time I had finished philosophizing and actually got around to putting fingers to keyboard, I was like, holy shit! The last 2 years we've seen all this growth, and everyone keeps on talking about this growth in streaming, and it's true, right? So there's been a need for the physical scale to be there, for CTV to be a place where you can really reach your audience. Okay, and that's not anything that can be dictated by an industry that typically likes to dictate everything. You've then got the other features, right? So you've got the existence of and the coexistence of first and third party data, which until now have always been slightly separate, used slightly different ways, and now through platforms that exist can be brought together and can be used intelligently. So there's a sort of the technical aspect along with other new innovations. To what we were saying earlier about innovation being needed and accepted, that's how these guys get funded and that's how they get better. So then you've got the platforms like folks like Iris or T-Vision, both of whom do incredibly special things that have not struggled, that's not fair, but who have needed the trust to be able to go mainstream enough to be able to grow and become the remarkable companies they are, on top of the education that has been required mainly at the agency end as to what the true power of connected TV is. And them being able to educate their brands and get the trust of their brands. So what I guess I'm really saying is that there's a plethora of factors, a lot of which aren't in our control, that just over time have slowly come together. And next year, I think, will be the year where they're able to show, and that there will be a lot more cohesion with all of these things successfully actually being able to sort of cohabit. And that's why next year is going to be the year. At the moment, we're seeing a disproportional growth in viewership over ad spend. And one of the biggest reasons for that is because a lot of people are still yet to understand the true power and potential of connected TV, and that is beginning to pick up.
And so the perfect storm is that we're at the critical mass point for connected TV viewing, combined with quality and trusted data sources to actually activate against that.
Yes, but
Yeah.
I think that there's always too much emphasis on data and targeting as being like the magic thing. It's one of many things. I mean, the other one again is like it's companies like us. It's having that creative agility. You know, having really angry disruptors in the space who, because this need for innovation exists, are being given a chance to prove themselves.
Yeah.
So I think it really is a myriad of factors.
Do you think we disproportionately discuss innovation in data targeting techniques over creative?
Oh, yes. I mean, for sure. And
Yeah.
it's not that it's unfair at all. It's just that, like, if you imagine, like, where the mind share has been going for now, it's been in data and in targeting, and that's where, you know, that's where the money is being seen, that's where the money's flowing, that's where the investment's going, because it's a big topic. But the whole point is that, like, you know, at our company, while we're watching everybody look left, we're the guys that look right. And we believe that creative has been completely left behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the side that we're solving. And, you know, we're happy to own that little part of the universe, and we are comfortably the most progressive in that regard. But I'm sure other people will start getting involved. And then, yeah, I mean, I think that there will start being a sea change in what creative looks like and how it's produced. I'm not saying that the days of the beautiful $10, $20 million ad are over. I mean, what we do is we actually combine everything we do creatively with those beautiful ads and sort of turn them into one giant Power Ranger of delicious success.